Hey, it is an unstoppable day. It is another episode of the Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge show. I'm your host, Terrance, the Unstoppable Coach Leftridge with Unstoppable Coaching Services, where we help you create your vision, implement your vision, but more importantly, we hold you accountable to living the life you were created to live. And one of the ways we do that is by bringing you other small business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who will help you with tips, tools, and strategies to take your business to the next level of its greatness. So thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching us on the live stream on Facebook, or if you're listening to the podcast on all of our podcast host partners, such as Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, our host, Anchor.fm. We look forward to giving you quality broadcasting to help your business move to the next level of its greatness each and every week. So by all means, we want you to definitely check out all of our podcasts over on Anchor FM or your favorite podcast host supplier. Well, we are coming around the past, you guys. We are finding our way out of this pandemic. We're seeing the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. States have reopened, cities have reopened, businesses are starting to reopen. And if you're in South Florida like I am, beaches are beginning to reopen. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But wherever you are and whatever situation you're going through, you know what? I hope that you are coming out of this stronger than how you went into it. Hopefully, as we moved out of quarter one into right in the midst of quarter two of 2020, your business has not only been able to survive, but you have put in the plans, you put in the strategies, so now that it will thrive as we move into our new normal. And one of those main things that you have to talk about as far as your business is concerned is how are you going to survive and thrive with sales moving forward into the new normal? Because let's just be clear about it. If there are no sales, there really is no business. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the sales in your business and how to get the AAA effect moving forward into your new normal. And we've got a sales strategist, we've got an entrepreneur, and we've got a fantastic thought leader and speaker on our broadcast today. So you are going to be in for a treat. So hopefully before we get started, you've got your pen and you've got your notepad, because you know what we say, note takers are money makers, and you definitely are in the business to make money. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a business. So let's get your pen, let's get your pad, let's get your favorite beverage so that you can get started on this great show. We won't be with you long, but we will be with you strong as we give you some tips, tools, and strategies to help you move your business to the next level. So our guest today is none other than my black belt speaker brother from another mother, Shamir Mallard. And let me tell you a little bit about Shamir. Shamir Mallard owns and manages CLS Devices LLC, representing several companies in the medical industry, as well as his own life coaching and inspirational speaking company, Shamir Mallard LLC. He's a member of the John Maxwell coaching team. He's also a member of the Black Belt Speakers Global team, and he is personally mentored by none other than Les Brown as a platinum speaker. And for over the last 10 years, he has had experience in sales and has overcome many obstacles. His rise to this level of meteoric success is due to his charismatic leadership as well as his unstoppable ambition. It is his faith in God, coupled with his love for his family, that has driven him to excel. And as an inspirational speaker, as well as a sales strategist, he has a zest for life and positive attitude for motivating others. And he loves to see others succeed. And today he's going to share his message on how you can get the triple A effect in your business moving forward. So let's welcome to the stage none other than my good friend, Mr. Shamir Mallard. Shamir, can you hear us? Hold on just 1 second. All right, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. How are you doing, Terrance?
All right, there is the melodic master of motivation, as I love.
What's going on, brother?
Not much. Thank you so much for coming on to the Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge show today. How's things going down there in Texas with you?
Things are going well. We definitely have some cases, but our cases are not as much as you would see in Chicago, New York, California. But things are going well, and business owners are staying strong, moving forward, staying focused, staying positive, and doing what they can do.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. As the nation and as the globe recovers from this pandemic, we are glad to see that the levels are coming down and that the curve is flattening, and we can get back to not business as usual and definitely not back to normal. But we have to embrace this new normal. So before we jump into that conversation on how we can do that from a sales standpoint, why don't you take a second, Shamir, and formally introduce yourself to the TSBTL family?
Absolutely. Well, my name is, as Terrance said, Chis'mere Mallard. I am a corporate trainer, a coach. I'm also an individual that is in the sales business. Really, I'm in the solution business. I'm a medical device sales representative. I also have my own company, and I've been thriving. I've been able to move forward even during this time. Yes, it's been a struggle, and that's a struggle for everyone. But I'm definitely the type of individual that I've had to adapt during this time, just like you have. And I love what I do. I love helping my clients out. I love speaking to companies, which I've even had to adapt in those situations as well during this time. And that's who I am.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that information with us as we are talking to Shamir Mallard today on the Talking Small Business with Terrance show. If you're watching us live, go ahead and put that number 1 in the feed. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to put that number 2, because we definitely want to recognize you and reach back out to you in case you have any questions about the topic that we're going to be discussing today. So Shamir, we're going to be talking to you about sales and the triple A effect. And as we said in your bio, you've been in sales now for over 10 years. So what have you seen from the time you've been in sales, and what have you seen now in these last 8 to 10 weeks on how sales may have stopped, pivoted, and have to move in a new direction going forward?
Absolutely. When I first got into the sales business and over 10 years ago, things were very fluid, and you were able to engage your customers in all different ways. You could engage them face to face. You can engage them over the phone. You can engage them via internet. You can engage them through the text messaging. And it was much easier to be able to do that. But as times have changed because of this pandemic, we all have had to make adjustments. And for certain individuals, such as myself, being a medical device representative, most of the time I'm engaging my customers who are surgeons inside the OR. I can no longer do that. Matter of fact, no consultants at this time were able to go in to the OR. So I've had to engage my customers, the surgeons, via email, via Zoom, via text messaging. And it takes away that personal interaction. But what's imperative is that you're able to communicate, to connect, and you can communicate and connect in person, through your cell phone, through text messaging, etc. And it's imperative that what I've learned is that your talk track is superb, so that your customer understands exactly what you're trying to promote, so you can enhance their business. For example, in my business, I'm enhancing my surgeon's outcome for his patient, so that the surgeon's happy and the patient's happy.
So in your business, where you definitely had to have that person to person, face to face connection,
Mhm.
has the fact that we've had to, and I hated the term social distance because it's really physical distancing, which requires us to have more of uh, a skill in being social, even though we
Exactly.
can physically be together. Have you found that to hurt your sales, or did your sales stay constant, or what was your experience in your business specifically, and then in the sales business overall?
It definitely was a drastic change in my sales. Soon as the pandemic hit, I saw an immediate drop within 2 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks, I saw a drop, and it affected me greatly. And I simply want to say that because I want individuals to realize that we're all in the same boat. There was this story that I heard of, and there were a group of individuals in a boat, and a storm came. And this story is actually in the Bible, and they all were dealing with the exact same storm at the exact same time. So my sales dropped, and I spoke with other business owners and other sales representatives, other consultants, and they were dealing with the same issue. And they were trying to figure out, how is it that I can make it out of this alive? And we've seen some stores close down. We've seen restaurants close down. And I've had to make adjustments just like everyone else.
So as we said earlier, sales is the lifeblood of your business. No sales, no business. And you've talked about how it affected you personally and how it affected some of your colleagues in the business. How have you found yourself adjusting not only to the current situation, but then forecasting what the future is going to look like for your business? And as you do corporate training for other businesses, what it's going to look like for other businesses in the new normal?
Absolutely. So when it comes to, and I'll start with the medical device industry, I've had to engage my customers via telephone. And I say the word engage because a lot of times people, when they're in sales, they feel like the only way they can engage is in person. But I've made an adjustment, and I've reached out to my customers, and get this, I'm actually trying not to sell them something. I'm selling without selling, simply by just checking in on them, and sending them a few videos of different surgeries that maybe they haven't seen with my device. For example, I have a particular device that helps extract different types of specimens. And I'll send them that video and simply say, hey, take a look at this. I don't try to close them. And when it comes
Right.
to my corporate training business, I've actually had clients that we've done Zooms because we can't meet face to face. I've also have done an engagement for Leadership Edinburgh that we had everybody on the Zoom, and I still gave my presentation. Because one of the things I've learned, when you have to adapt, because there are people that are going to adapt and there are people who will not adapt. I got very familiar pretty quickly with Zoom. And you can still give an amazing presentation because you can share your screen. You can still share your PowerPoints. You can still share your YouTube videos. So I
Absolutely.
live with a no excuse mentality, because
I
people
love
with
it.
no excuses, they make things happen. But people with excuses, they stop things from happening.
That is a nugget right there by itself. Because as you know, we talk about in the speaker world as well as in the business world that it all begins here in the
Mhm.
mind. And what you can visualize in the mind, you can make happen in reality. But you've got to have that no excuses mentality. You've got to have that, you know what, I'm going to make it come hell or high
Absolutely.
water. And then let the world know that you are the hell and you
You are
are
the
the high water. So it
yeah, that's right.
and I love how you are utilizing that in your own business, and I'm sure you're also sharing that with the other businesses that you train as a corporate trainer, correct?
Absolutely.
So
I've been
cool. Go ahead.
No, I've informed individuals if I found different ways to navigate through business. Hey, take a look at this. This is what's helping me. And some individuals have taken it. Some people are afraid to do it. But at this time, we have no time to be afraid. We only have time to take action.
I
Feel
love
the
it.
fear and do it anyway.
Absolutely. Do it afraid. Absolutely. As we are talking to Shamir Mallard, he's the owner of CLS Devices, and he is a corporate trainer here on the Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge show, talking about how you're going to utilize your sales, how you might have to pivot in your sales strategy moving into the new normal. And Shamir has already shared with you a couple of different ways, talking about adjustment and talking about adapting. And Shamir has this eloquent way as the motivational minister of motivation. He has this eloquent way of giving you some tips and strategies and using these powerful words to make it happen. So he's already given you two words that begin with the letter A: adapting and adjusting. But now he wants to hit you with the AAA effect to your sales strategy going forward. So tell us a little bit about your AAA strategy that you share with corporations to help them move forward into the new normal.
Well, I think it's imperative whenever you're going through anything, whether good or challenging, that you understand that number one, you have to accept what's happening. What is happening and what has happened is real. We know it's there. And I think the first thing you have to do is accept. I've met individuals that have not accepted this. And I've actually known individuals that because they did not accept, they did not make the proper adjustments in their business to be able to move forward and still thrive through this pandemic. There's two different types of mindsets, and it's imperative that you have this particular mindset. It's imperative that you have a growth mindset during this time. Not only during this time, but it's imperative that you always have a growth mindset. You see, individuals with a fixed mindset, they believe that things happen because of the circumstances. They believe they can only go so far because of the circumstances. They believe when something happens, it's going to stop their process and their progress. We've already heard before through psychologists. I know you've heard this, Terrance, and other thought leaders have heard it, that we experience up to 40 to 50,000 thoughts per day. And out of 40 to 50,000 thoughts, according to psychologists and psychiatrists, out of all of those thoughts, 80% of them are negative. And I know people that when this pandemic struck us, hit us, they were dealing and they have a fixed mindset. And guess where they are right now? They're still stuck in stagnant
Yeah,
water. But the people that I know that have a growth mindset, they're moving forward. They're not worried about excuses. They're not worried about the pandemic. Yes, they're concerned, but they're not allowing this time to stop them from making something happen. There's a quote, I believe, by Mike Tyson. He says, "It's not the punch that you see coming that knocks you out. It's the punch that you don't see coming that knocks you out."
absolutely.
So you have
Absolutely.
to accept what's happening. You have to
Yeah.
accept it. Listen, you walk outside every day, you look up, it looks like it's getting ready to rain. Accept that it's going to rain. You walk outside the next day, guess what? The sun is out. It's a sunny day. I accept that. But
Yes.
just because of the weather changes doesn't mean you have to change. So a lot of
Yeah.
times people, their life is predicated on what's happening. If they're sad, they lay down, they go to sleep, and nothing happens because of the circumstance. If the circumstance happens, hey, you might feel the punch, you might feel the pain, but you can still adjust and move forward. There's this quote that I heard: feel the emotion, feel the pain, but do not become the pain. You see, in
Absolutely.
Seattle, they say that there's a lot of depression. And I believe it's because people are allowing themselves to feel the weather instead of creating their own weather within inside.
I like that. And I love that. And there's another quote, and I can't match you with the quotes, but I do know a few. There's a quote that life is 10% of what happens to you and
Absolutely.
90% of how you react to it. And the reaction comes with the acceptance. Accept the things that you cannot control and control the things that you can. And when we focus on what we are able to control and then just accept the things that we can't, then our focus goes in the right direction. And as you said, many of us fail because we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're focusing on that which we cannot control. But that's why I love the word unstoppable,
That's
because the
right.
last four letters says ABLE. See, we put the focus on what you're able to do. Accept what you can't, but what are you able to do in spite of? What are you able to do regardless of your situation? And from a
Absolutely.
business, how do you pivot? And you know what? You can't control the lockdown, but you can control what you have inside of your house. You can control the use of the internet. You can control the use of Zoom, like you said earlier, as one of those strategies to continue to be social with your customers and your clients, even though you physically had to be distant from them. So that's the first thing, accepting of your situation. But then what's next after that, Shamir?
I think it's imperative that we take an assessment. We do an assessment. See, it's interesting that we'll take our car to the dealership or to get an oil change and to get an assessment. Like, what's going on? Do I need a new filter? Do I need the oil change? Do I need the tires rotated? We we do an assessment on everything else. We even do an assessment on other people, but do an assessment on your business. Now, understand this: when you're doing an assessment, you have to be honest with yourself. Your business partners, as you come together in a board meeting, you have to be honest with each other. You have to understand, what's our operating expense? Can we currently operate with the current revenue that's flowing within our business? What's our cash flow? Let me ask you a question. Do you have an Excel spreadsheet? Do you have a CRM to help you monitor your business? Do you have any employees that unfortunately, you might have to let go? But I believe that it's imperative that we all do an assessment with our families, our personal lives, but we do an assessment with our business. I've had to do an assessment within my business. I've had to make adjustments. I've lost a lot of revenue within my business. But doing an assessment is key, because it's hard to go through this journey in which we call life blindfolded. And a lot of people are going through blindfolded within their business right now. Take the blindfold off and see what's exactly happening right now in your current state.
I love it. In every business, you set goals at the beginning of the year. You set goals for the entire year, or you set goals for each and every quarter within the year. And before COVID hit, we were in quarter number one. So now that COVID has been in place, like Shamir said, have you taken that time to take that assessment? Have you looked at your quarter one goals and determined, how'd you do with those goals? Did you hit those goals, or did you sadly miss the mark? Well, you know what? Now that we are in the midst of quarter two and you recognize that life isn't going to be the same as you projected it to be in December or even in January 1st, what have you done different? What have you added differently into your business plan? How has the assessments of how you were doing affected the forecasting of what you're going to do going forward? Those are keys to the assessment that Shamir is talking about. And if you take that assessment and add it into the acceptance of your situation, then you will have more control as we move into this unknown called the new normal. But then, Shamir, you said there's one more thing after that. After the assessment and after the acceptance of your situation, what's the third A?
The third A is the simply apply for the government grant, apply for the government relief package, for better words. I've applied, and no, I have not been accepted for this government relief package, but that's okay. But I'm informing you, as I'm not an expert, simply go online and apply for this government relief program. It doesn't hurt. It will only help you, because if you don't receive it, well, guess what? You didn't even pay anything to apply for it. So at least try to apply for this government relief program.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the people who are watching us in the chat room, Trina Brown, she says
Hey,
good
Trina.
morning to both of us. She is a well-respected representative of SBA, the Small Business Administration. And that's just one of the organizations at SBA.gov that can assist small businesses with going through the minutia of the PPP and the EIDL, the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan that has come out in as a result to dealing with this pandemic. So there are so many different things out there, and people, as well as businesses, perish for a lack of knowledge. And sometimes the fear of accepting the situation also leads into the fear of doing something about the situation.
Absolutely.
There are many millions of people that have applied for these different services for their businesses and have got accepted. Now, just because CLS devices hasn't gotten accepted yet doesn't mean that your business won't get accepted. But here's one thing that we do know for sure: if you never apply, you'll never get accepted. And that's the same thing with the whole ideal of having a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So make this part of your strategy to at least look into the things that are out there to assist you. And I know for a fact that Trina has shared to me on other shows that the deadline for these opportunities is June 30th. So if you haven't at least looked at the information on SBA.gov or at your community bank or wherever you do business, then it's definitely something that you should take a look at. You might be surprised that it's something that could be a blessing in disguise for your business as you accept your situation and take an assessment of your business going forward. You've got to apply, like Shamir said. And how will you apply that, not only with applying for the loans, but how do you apply the acceptance and the assessment in the action that each business should take going forward with their sales strategy, Shamir?
Well, I think it's imperative that whether you get the loan or you don't get the relief package, number one, as you said, we have to accept. You have to do the assessment. You apply. But what I've done, number four, is I'm taking the internet by storm. Simply meaning that I'm increasing my knowledge with ClickFunnels. To be very frank with you, I've increased the cost. I've increased the operating cost for my coaching and speaking business a little bit, because I've allowed myself to learn something different during this time. I've allowed myself to grow. And I believe another way that you can engage individuals is creating programs such as I have. I've created a pharmaceutical and medical device program that I just finished the ebook for. I've created a customer service curriculum that I'm going to promote via internet. And you can learn different strategies that maybe, well, I don't want to learn that because it's too hard. Or maybe I don't want to learn that because I'll just put that off or pay for it to be completed by someone else. But you know what I've done? I've decided that I'm personally going to learn certain strategies such as ClickFunnels to help enhance my business. And I believe it's also imperative that we go back and we do a review, Because if you're in business and you have a hard time connecting, communicating with your customers, because it's imperative that we communicate to connect. If you're having a hard time in person, it's going to be twice or three times as hard via email, via text message, via phone call. And I just want to simply give you this as we start to wrap everything up. I believe it's imperative that we do a review even on the sales cycle, because there's a cycle in sales. And during this time, there are individuals, and I've been approached by these individuals, that they are desperately selling. And I had to stop an individual and say, listen, I'm simply not interested, but I just want to help you a little bit. I can feel the desperation. You're simply trying to make a close just to make a close, maybe to feed your family, maybe to purchase something else, but you don't have to desperately close me or desperately sell. And during this time of desperation, people are desperately selling. So I just want to do a quick review that I normally would do whenever I do sales trainings on the sales cycle. Number one, you have to understand your prospects. Number one, prospects. Who are your customers? I've realized in my line of business, everyone is not my customer. When it comes to my speaking and coaching, my corporate training business, my customers are usually banks. My customers are usually restaurants. My customers have been schools. My customers are sometimes individuals that I coach one-on-one that are CEOs or C-suites of their companies. So everyone is not my customer, and everyone can't be your customer unless you're Shipley's Donut. But even then, there are certain people that don't like donuts. So understand your customers. Number one, prospect. Number two, you have to initiate that contact. You have to take that step. A lot of people are afraid to take that first step to initiate to their customer and to make contact. And during this time, how are you going to connect with them? Because we have this physical distancing. The third thing is needs. You have to identify your customers' needs. When it comes to the medical device industry, I have a product that only GYNs use, and I have another product that only colorectal surgeons use. So I wouldn't take the colorectal product to a GYN. So if you're in the beauty business and you only have products for females, well, that's your customers, and vice versa. If you have products for males, those are your customers. But a lot of individuals waste a lot of their time because they haven't identified their needs. And you also have to present, once you identify your customers' needs, you put together a package and you present the offer. You present the offer, number four. And once you present the offer, more than likely your customer, your potential client customer, will come back to you with some type of objective. Usually it takes 7 to 10 meetings with customers, depending on the size of the deal, to close them. And then you have to manage those objections. And lastly, within the sales cycle, and there's a lot of things in between each. Example, follow up and checking in and so forth. But you have to close. Most people buy from people they know, like, and trust. It's also been known in studies that if a product is even more expensive, people will still purchase the more expensive product because they have trusted the consultant that is trying to sell them something. And you have to close. So during that time, if you're not building trust with your customer, potentially you'll lose them.
Yeah.
Potentially, even if you try to close them, they'll say no because that trust, that foundation hasn't been built. Do you know your customer's name? Do you know? I know exactly where some of my doctors are on Wednesday. They're playing golf. I know how many kids they have. I know that one of my doctors, her husband, loves horseback riding. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to build trust every time I meet with her or meet with my other surgeons and say, hey, how's your wife doing with her exercise program that you stated 2 weeks ago? And I'm like, whoa, you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know? Do you know even your customers' kids' names? And you don't have to go sometimes so far knowing the dog name or so forth, but just getting to know your customers goes a long way. Just being a human goes a long way.
Absolutely. Building relationship builds sales. Like you said, it's important, especially during this time. As everybody is grappling for a dollar and a cent, a dollar and a dime, as everybody is looking for new ways to pivot, not only in their business but in their personal life. That personal touch, that socialization, that social closeness, despite the physical distance, is key right now. And just something as simple as saying to your employees, hey, I know you're not here in the building right now. I know we're not in business, but we're still thinking about you. Or sending a note, a personal note out to your clients, your customers. Hey, I know we're not here right now. We hope you guys are staying safe. We hope you are practicing social distancing or whatever terminology. Just to know that you, company, is thinking about me, customer, is going to stick in my head when this is over. And when I want to go back and be a customer again, who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to that company or that organization or that person who thought about me when I needed it. And then I'm going to think about you when you need it too. So that relationship is absolutely key right now. And to not be salesy. I can't tell you how many different sales pitches have come my way over these last 8 to 10 weeks, and they weren't looking to build relationships, Shamir. They were just looking to find another way to make a dollar so that they could make it through this time. And for many of those people who took that strategy, I'm pretty sure that it probably didn't work out very well for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to say something that may even shock you. There are a lot of people who approach me. There are a lot of people who approach my friends, and we've talked about this. And as far as we've discussed, the desperation is running rampant right now. Yeah. And for me, because I believe in integrity, I believe in selling with integrity, I believe in operating a business with integrity. The line of business I'm in is very fragile. When it comes to corporate training, I'm dealing with people's emotions and employees. So I'm here to train their employee to help their employee engagement improve. That's fragile.
Yeah.
I have to have high integrity. When it comes to medical devices, I am literally right next to the doctor, not scrubbed in, but I'm right next to the doctor as he's using my device. And we have a live patient. We have a mother. We have a father. We have a son. Yes. We have a daughter. Yes. We have a mommy, daddy. We have someone right there on the table. So my customer engagements are very fragile. During this time, I would rather go broke than lose my integrity.
Yeah.
Because to me, the way that I engage individuals, the way that I love individuals is key for business. Because your customers, they can tell when you're authentic or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah. And that old adage, you can smell fear in the water.
Yeah.
It definitely applies to a time like this. And you always want, and this is just my personal opinion, you can have your own opinion, you always want to go to the dance with the person who brought you. Absolutely. And that means how you started, you don't want to change just because an obstacle came in the way. You don't change your values. You don't change your foundation just because an obstacle has entered in your way. And that's when you break it down to its least common denominator, that's what this pandemic has been. It has been an obstacle.
That's all it is.
And the obstacle can be big or small, depending on how you look at it, what lens you're looking at it through. And if you throw out everything that is your foundation because an obstacle came in your way, then maybe, and I'm gonna say it, maybe business isn't the business you should be in. But if you stay true to the core values, if you stay true to the why you got into business to begin with, then you'll be able to make it through this time. I'm not going to say you're not going to make it through unscathed or you're not going to have any scars, but whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's true
Absolutely.
in life, and that's true in business. And if you take the AAA techniques that Shamir shared with you today, accepting your situation, number one, taking assessment of your business, number two, which is something that you should have been doing anyway, even before this happened, and then applying what you not only know, but what you have learned as a result of going through this time, applying that to going forward and forecasting how you're going to run your business from a sales standpoint, from an integrity standpoint, and from an overall strategy standpoint. You're going to make it through this time. Yeah, both Shamir and I both know we're both men of faith, and we truly believe that this too shall pass.
Absolutely.
The only question is, how are you going to react and act after this passes? And that's what's going to determine how your business is going to react or act in the future. We got some comments in the chat I just want to throw up before we go away. We've got Maria Simonetti. She is joining us. She said, agree wholeheartedly. Listen with curiosity, speak with honesty, and act with integrity. Period.
I love it.
That is a great one. Again, if you got your pen and pad, you guys need to write that down. I told you earlier, note takers are money makers. So agree wholeheartedly, listen with curiosity, speak with honesty, and act with integrity. Period. I love it. Misty Lane is joining us. Good morning, Misty Lane. Andrea Williams is saying hello, good morning. Thank you, Andrea, for joining us. Jerome Jackson, he agrees. Apply after you have accepted and after you have assessed. Make sure that you are applying. Melinda Ray from Chicago, she says that she's heard of ClickFunnels. Yeah, definitely check into that, especially if you are self-employed or an entrepreneur and you're looking to build your strategy going forward. That's definitely something to look into. Good morning, Alicia Cummings, also from Chicago. Jerome Jackson, good morning. Tanya Brooks from Houston.
Good morning. Houston, that's my hometown.
Yes. And Trina Brown, and we said good morning to her earlier from the SBA. Thank you all for joining us, and hopefully you got some great information out of the short time that we had to share with my friend and my good buddy Shamir Mallard of CLS Devices LLC. He gave you the triple threat to surviving and thriving for your business as we move into the new normal. Accept your situation, assess your business, and apply. Not only apply for help, because no business can do it by itself, but also apply the strategies that Shamir has taught you today and learn from what you have gone through. Learn from your assessment, accept what you can't control, and control what you can accept. And then you too, and your business will be unstoppable. Hey, Shamir, let me give you the final word. Anything you want to add, or how they can get in contact with you if they want to have a closer relationship with you about integrity, foundation, and the AAA effect?
Absolutely. My email is info at Chismere Mallard.com. Info at ShamirMallard.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, Shamir Mallard Speaks, or Shamir Speaks, and Instagram as well. I want to share this with you is that I know it's imperative that during this time, during this pandemic, there's a drought of maybe resources, but you have to create your own flow. I'm reminded of this story of this drought that occurred in India. And a lot of individuals.
Mic check. If you guys can hear me, let's put that in there.
A lot of individuals. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Want to make sure it's info at ShamirMallard.com.
That is correct. That is correct.
Man, thank God we know each other, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you can reach out to Shamir, and again, give your final thought again in case someone missed it in this internet distraction. Your information is so good and so hot. Somebody or something didn't want you to get this out to the universe, but because
Absolutely.
we are unstoppable, we got the opportunity to say it again. So share your final thought.
So, as I was stating, that there was this drought during this one time in India, and a lot of individuals, a lot of communities within India, they could not find water. And there was this one man and his family, and he became so concerned. He thought that his kids and his wife would die of thirst. So he went to a local store and he got a shovel and he got a couple of digging supplies that he can begin to dig, because he had a thought in mind where everyone else was afraid and they were dealing with the fear and they were stagnant. They were waiting for something to happen. He decided to create his own flow and make something happen. What he decided to do is try to find water from beneath. And before he went to work, because he worked an 8 to 9 hour shift, before he went to work, he would dig for 2 to 4 hours. And then he would go to work, come home, and then he would dig for another 2 to 4 hours. I believe it was after about 40 days that he dug so much that he finally hit water. So I'm saying that to say this, is that in life, what I've learned, what I've lived through, what I've been through, the circumstances I've had to face, I faced them since I was a kid. That you have to create your own flow. Just as that man in India did something about it, guess what? We have to rise up, get up, and do something about our business. And you have what it takes. You have the ability. You've been born with a gift. You've been born to be able to withstand any challenges that you're going to face. The reason why I'm saying that is because you have unlimited, untapped potential inside of you. Yes, you, the one that right now you're listening to me, you have doubt, you worry, you're anxious, you have a hard time sleeping at night. You have unlimited, untapped potential. The individual, yes, you've been dealing with depression. Maybe you've dealt with such a hard setback. Maybe before this pandemic, you were dealing with a setback. Yes, you have unlimited, untapped potential. The individual that's listening to me right now, I'm telling you to create your own flow. You create your own flow. Maybe you're dealing with a setback in your business. You don't even know if you should stay open or close. I want to let you know that you have unlimited, untapped potential. All of you have unlimited, untapped potential inside of you. Not because I say so, but because I know so. Y'all create your own flow and keep digging and don't stop until you win, until you hit that the potential that you knew you always had.
And that's why I call him the melodic master of motivation. He just picks them up and he puts them down. Create your own flow and recognize that you have unlimited, untapped potential. And if you learn how to accept your situation, accept and assess your business, and apply not only the things that you already know, but that the things you learn, here's my added part to it. You will be able to not be stopped because you will tap into that untapped, unlimited potential as you move forward, surviving and thriving in the new normal. And you know what's that going to make you? That's going to make you unstoppable. Thank you, Shamir, for joining us on this edition of the Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge show. We'd love the information. Check out Shamir at info@ShamirMallard.com if you want to get more information about his business. If you also want to bring him in for any corporate training events or any speaking events, or if you also want to get a copy of his books, he failed to mention he is an author as well. Get a copy of his books or get a copy of the upcoming ebook that he has if you are in the medical industry. And so that's our wrap today. Thank you guys for joining us here at Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for tuning in each and every week to Talking Small Business with Terrance Leftridge, where we give you guests that will give you tools, tips, and strategies to help you move your business to the next level. And as always, wherever you are in the world today, don't just make it a great day. Go out, accept what you can't control, assess your business and apply, 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 and then you make it an unstoppable day. Take care, you guys.
Take care, guys.